Hello and welcome back to Grim Survival. It is very early Monday morning. Yeah, very early for me at least. Today's the 19th, I believe. I hope I got that right. I get it right sometimes I don't. I'm, having morning coffee here. I was watching Alaska Prepper last night. Not last night. For me, it was afternoon, but yeah, I was watching his live stream talking about if the trucks stop, and yeah, I have a little bit of information on that particular subject I'd like to share. First off, there is a common consensus around the United States that believes that if the trucks stop, that grocery stores have a 3-day food supply. This was true before the food shortages of 2020. Whatever you believe caused the food shortages, obviously. They will tell you coronavirus caused food shortages, but that is completely not true. That is not true at all. Massive crop loss due to weather and human error caused food shortages. Crop loss from last year. And I said this in a lot of videos, that your meat prices are going to go way down in the beginning of the year, and they did. And I have videos up. We were finding 10 pounds of ground beef for like $5 and things like that. The prices went way down in the early parts of the year. That's because there wasn't enough feed to feed the animals, and they had to what they call cull the herds. Basically, they had to process the animals so that they didn't starve to death. The animals would have starved to death had they not done this. And so we had a flood of meat hit the market, and yeah, prices went way down. But now animals are in short supply because you can't just regrow an animal that quickly. Cows, they take quite a while to, get of age to where you can process them again. So, rebuilding the herds, if they have enough feed, which they still do not have enough feed. A lot of areas had okay crops this year. My area had okay crops, but a lot of areas did not. And if you watch Ice Age Farmer, you'll know that we're still having shortages and still having food supply, especially food for our animals, which is food for us. The animal food and grains and things like that are under attack. Grain silos are being destroyed all over the country. They're being blown up. There's supposed wind damage to a lot of them. And we're losing a lot of food. Trains have derailed, dumping a lot of food out on the ground, and they don't even try to recover it. They just leave it there. I mean, they don't even try. Anyway, so the common consensus is that there is a 3-day food supply at your grocery store. This is no longer true. There is a 1-day food supply at your grocery store. Those trucks are coming to those stores every single day. If you do not believe me, go sit by your local grocery store. Count how many trucks come into it. These trucks will go around to their dock doors, and you will see that these trucks back into their dock doors and sit there for a while and get unloaded. This happens at all the Walmarts. This happens at all the grocery stores, unless we're talking about really small stores. But even things like your Dollar General stores and things like that, they're seeing trucks come in almost every single day for these stores as well. So yeah, we are down to about a 1-day food supply. Used to be you could go to a food distribution center. I've been to many of these. I delivered lots of food as a truck driver. And used to be you could go to the food distribution center and you could see trailers, just endless amounts of loaded trailers full of food sitting on their lots. Not anymore. Now all you see are empty trailers sitting on their lots. Those trailers go straight from, they go straight into the docks. They get unloaded. The whatever's on the truck gets separated to different trucks, because you have, all of, say, one trailer is full of cases of water, another trailer is full of cases of beans, and they have to, put a little bit on each individual trailer and move it to whichever store it's going to. So they're still using the distribution centers just to divide and send out the goods where it needs to go. Yeah. Anyway, there are no longer loaded trailers sitting at those places waiting. They don't wait anymore. There's not nearly as many trucks coming into those places as there used to be. There's not nearly as much food as there used to be. It's getting bad. It really is. So, that is my insight there on trucks and really how they work. Kinda. I mean, like I said, I had been a truck driver for over 6 years. I had not driven a truck this year. I have not. just because I was laid off early in the year. It was actually right before the beginning of this year, and I have not been able to acquire work. I have applied for several jobs, but I will not go to Chicago, and I will not go to St. Louis. And if you live in Indianapolis or anywhere in central Indiana, your local runs take you to either Chicago or St. Louis for the most part. There are other exceptions to that, but for the most part, Chicago or St. Louis, and I will not travel to either one of those cities. I will not do it. Alaska Prepper in his live stream was talking about if truck drivers, what will they do? If, what will people do? Will truck drivers go to those cities? Well, I can tell you personally, I will not. No. I have been to Chicago. I ran for JB Hunt Intermodal. I ran all types of goods from Indianapolis to Chicago for almost 2 years. And this was 2016, 2017, or it was like 2016 to 2018. And in Chicago at the train yards, because intermodal means basically you have a trailer on your truck and they take the container off of your truck and they put it on a train, or vice versa. So anyway, I was driving loads to train yards in Chicago, off of one of them being, I think it's BNSF off of Kedzie Avenue in Chicago. Very rough neighborhood. There are signs on the fences facing the drivers that tell you do not get out of your truck for your own safety. There's bullet holes in those signs, so you actually see why. The problem with that is you have to get out of your truck, because there's no way to disconnect your truck from the trailer and hook up to another trailer without getting out of it, so that sign is rather pointless. Anyway, will not go to Chicago, will not go to St. Louis. So that's one big problem of why I have trouble finding a job. Another problem is I will not go over the road. I'm not going to be that far from my family. I had a trip scheduled to go up to New Hampshire. There's work up there I could do, and there's some things that I could do up there. That has been postponed until after the election and after I see what's actually going to go on, because chaos ensues. Chaos is happening right now. Even right now, without the election happening, they are having violence being promoted by our government. It really is. If you don't believe it, all you got to do is pay attention. You'll see. Violence is being promoted by our government. You can see a Trump supporter. It was a woman. She was near a bunch of people that support Biden, and they seen that she supported Trump by whatever means, and they beat her half to death. This is vice versa. Trump supporters have been doing the same to Biden supporters. So you just don't hear. It depends on which side you follow is which side you hear the most of. So keep that in mind. It's all a game. It's a divide and conquer game. They want us going at each other so we don't realize what's happening. What's happening is we are losing our food supply drastically. All right, so I have a small list in front of me. I have notes of things that you might... I heard the question on Alaska Prepper's live stream last night. What should I get just before the election? What should I get? Food and water being your number one priorities. Food and water. Water. See, my water supply is rather low currently. I've been trying to build up, getting a few cases here and there, get gallons here and there, grabbing things from Costco as I can. I'd like to have a couple of 55-gallon drums to fill up with rainwater. I've been considering building a rainwater catch, but the only thing I really have to catch it into is 5-gallon buckets. And I don't have enough 5-gallon buckets to make it really worthwhile, so more 5-gallon buckets possibly, or something bigger to actually build something to catch it into would be a good idea. You can catch water in trash bags, tarps, things like this. So considering building something like this, if I do it, you'll see it on the video. Unless my channel gets banned before then, because YouTube doesn't like me, or anyone else that preps for that matter. Prepper Nation talked about it in his Shotgun Saturday Night live stream, where he was getting disconnected a couple of times. Prepper Nurse's live stream that was yesterday, 4 takes for Bear Independence live stream got cut off in the middle of it for whatever reason. I wasn't watching it at the time, and I don't remember what exactly they said that happened, but YouTube sent him a message saying they did it. So yeah. All right, so here's a little philosophy that I have. If depending on where you live. If you live in a suburban area or in a city or things like this, and you support one side or the other, Trump or Biden, you should have gear that supports both sides, Trump and Biden. Why? Because if you have a group of Trump supporters, armed Trump supporters marching down your street, and they're going house to house, and they're dragging out people that don't support their same side, and they're beating them half to death or worse, you can put on the appropriate gear. Same thing if you have a bunch of Biden supporters marching down the street, you can put on the appropriate gear. And you can say, hey, I support your side. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that you should not ever do is renounce your religion. Whatever religion you follow, if you renounce your religion because a group of armed people are threatening to hurt you, you're not doing very well in your particular religion. We'll just put it that way. Alright, so extra things you should have. And if you have enough food and water, I want to be very clear about this. Food and water are the first priorities. Ammunition and things to defend yourself will be my second priority. And I am considering getting more ammunition. I don't have enough. To be quite honest, I'm right around 1,000 rounds of AR, and I'm right around 500 rounds of 9mm, and I have less of everything else, so yeah, I don't have a lot of ammunition. I need more. I really do, but it's really expensive now, so it just is. Anyway, things you should have. What if your washer and dryer stops working? Do you have a way to wash your clothing? I mean, on a rainy day like it is here, it is very rainy. It's been raining half the night. Temperatures in the 40-degree mark. In a rainy day, you could wash your clothes out in the rain. You really could if you have, bar soap or you know how to. I mean, if all you have those little pods, there is a way to open those little pods to get the soap out of there and wash your clothes. But you got to remember that's very concentrated soap, so you're going to want to dilute that in water. Yeah. Would you even bother wasting your water to wash your clothes? One thing preppers, I think, forget to mention is how hygiene. A lot of them do mention hygiene, but hygiene and cleaning your garments, your clothing. Obviously, I don't clean my hat. I just don't. But here you go. This is a prep. It really is. This is a prep. If you don't have any of these, learn how to make them, because you can make one of these. You can carve out of sticks. You can carve sticks to be generally this shape. You need a gap here, and then you wrap something like cordage around here, and you put something springy here. You could use a stick. You could use a green stick that you can bend, and you can put it here, and it'll push it back together, and that'll hold your clothes onto a piece of paracord that's strung across a couple of trees to dry after you've washed them. An old-fashioned washboard, you can find these at thrift stores. You really can. Things for your kids. Now, I've been thinking about this quite a bit. I have a 9-year-old little Grim that's been growing like a weed lately, and all of her dresses and skirts and things are starting to get way too short, especially for my taste. And we've been hitting things like thrift stores, Goodwills, and things like that, resale shops, to acquire more clothing for her, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper. It really is. So, if your washer and dryer stops working due to power outage or due to mechanical failure, do you have extra parts to fix it? Do you know how to fix it? If you don't, do you have alternate means to wash your clothing and your stuff? Extra parts for your vehicles. I mean, do you know how to change your tire? Do you have extra tires? Tires wear out more than anything else on your car. Brakes would wear out probably your second fastest, maybe, depending on your car. I mean, some cars have issues with just underlying issues to begin with, but tires and brakes, I would think, would be the first two things to go if you're taking care of your vehicle. Now, do you have extra oil to put in your vehicle? Do you have extra gasoline to keep it running? I mean, petroleum products currently, gasoline, its prices in my area staying about the same every day. It really is. It's staying just about the same. It's not really fluctuating up or down too much. About 30 to 40 cents here or there, but it goes up and down. So they're keeping that price relatively stable. But other things such as oil for your vehicle, antifreeze, just the basic fluids that your vehicle needs, those prices are going up. Petroleum products in particular, oil, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, things like that. Buy extra if you can. Building materials. Your house is your home, right? Do you know how to fix it? Do you know how to fix everything in it? Can you fix your roof if you spring a leak? You will eventually spring a leak. I mean, everyone does. Everyone has to replace their roof. What is it? The general rule is about every 10 years they have to do some work on it or replace it. Shingles, they wear away. There are alternate means to modern building materials if you know how to, acquire them for yourself. This is going to require some specialized tools. Axes would be helpful. You could make shingles out of wood. You really can. You could string a tarp up there, but even that's only going to be, that'll last you a year or two. So, yeah, extra building materials. Can you repair things inside your house? Can you repair things outside of your house? Alternate lighting methods. Candles. I have a lot of candles. I like candles. I really dislike, what is it, artificial lighting. That's what I'm trying to say. Artificial lighting. I dislike artificial lighting. Any chance I have to have the windows open and light my house naturally, I do. Any chance I have, power goes out, oh boy, I get to light a candle. I'm that guy. Yeah, I get to light a candle. Yay. I'm that guy. So oil lamps and candles. Oil lamps, I have several oil lamps. I have a few gallons of oil. I have enough alternate lighting to get me through a winter. I really do. Speaking of getting through the winter, alternate heating and alternate cooking. Now, Alaska Prepper was showing this, and we've had this before in places I've lived. As a kid, we lived in a mobile home that had a giant propane tank out back. Yeah, excuse me. I think it was about a 100-gallon propane tank, something like that. It was one of those ones you see standing outside of somebody's house. It was, standing above ground. It's just a big tank. And yeah, we had propane furnace, propane stove and oven, propane everything. So those little propane camp stoves, you can use them in your house. Set it right on top of the stove you have now, plug in your little propane tank, light the thing, make sure you light it. It's not any more dangerous than natural gas. If you have a natural gas oven or natural gas stove, it's the same thing. The flame is actually burning off the fumes of the gas, so it's not going to kill you. It really isn't. Now, if you are burning propane stoves in your car, that might be a different story because it's more tightly enclosed, and just the gas it still should burn it off. It probably wouldn't kill you, but I would suggest opening a window. So alternate means of heating. Kerosene heaters. If you have a fireplace or a wood stove, do you have enough wood to get you through the winter? These are lessons learned from Alaska. If you know anybody who lives in Alaska, if you follow anybody from Alaska, ask them about their heating. How do they get through the winter if their power goes out? How do they do it? Mostly with wood. Renewable sources like wood is your best bet because, yeah, it's renewable. It's abundant still, currently. Not guaranteeing it will stay that way, but currently it's abundant in my area, depending on your area, obviously. If you live in the desert, you probably don't need, you probably won't come across a lot of wood, but you'll still need alternate heating methods. So, where am I at here? I have, things for your children. See, like I was saying, clothing. My little ones are growing like weeds, and as one of them grows out of clothes, we can usually transfer them over to a little one. We have totes and boxes and things of older clothes, but at some point even my clothing is going to be not fitting me very well. In a SHTF situation or prolonged food shortage situation, you're going to lose weight. Have you considered that? Have you considered how much weight you might lose in a prolonged situation? And your clothing might not fit you anymore. It might be too big. Even my clothing might be too big, and I'm not that big of a person as it is. Yeah. Books and things. Books and board games and things that don't require electricity for keeping yourself and your children occupied during times of, unrest where you might need to be sheltered in your house and not leaving it. Times of unrest being, riots, civil unrest, ignorance going on outside of your house because people are... that's a whole other video for why people do what they do. Okay. But anyway, things for your kids to do. Board games, cards, card games. Have like a sheet of paper or a book of things that you can do with different types of things that you have, like cards, checkers, chess, whatever kind of board games you like. Make sure you have not just one, but maybe a couple extra. Especially if you have kids like mine, checkers and chess, they tend to lose the pieces. So have extra. Have extra pieces. You can always go to a thrift store or a Goodwill and find board games that probably are missing pieces, so that's just extra for you, and they're really cheap. For like $1, things like this. I seen them a couple of days ago. I was going around a resale shop. I picked up an axe. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you pick up some of these. These things are really helpful. You can use these for more than just hanging clothes too. I mean, there's several uses for these types of things. Extra paper. You might want to start a journal if it really gets bad and you are locked in your house, prolonged lockdown. They're talking about more lockdowns in a lot of places right now. If you are locked down, you have extra writing material and extra paper. You might want to start a journal. You might want to keep a log. You might need to, write down recipes, things like that. Alright, these are just a few ideas. This video is starting to run a little long. I could probably make another one that goes into a longer list of things. Do you have a way to heat your coffee? Do you like cold coffee? I mean, can you even brew cold coffee? I guess you could let it sit there for half a day, but in the summer you could probably brew it in the sun. Maybe. Sun brewed coffee? I don't know. Is that a possibility? I don't really know. Maybe. I'm gonna have to try that out. I really am. Building a water catch. That's something I'm greatly considering. Maybe getting a couple of trash cans, because I can get trash cans that, those big trash totes with the wheels on it. Those things are watertight, right? If I get a couple of those, I could build a water catch out of one of them. It's not a bad idea. They're cheaper than those 55-gallon drums too. They really are. They're not food grade, obviously. It's for trash, but hey, in a pinch, it's water. All right, that's going to be enough rambling. My wife made jam last night. She did. She did it really late. She still has to do the voiceover, and I still have to edit the video. So we'll get to that here, hopefully within the next day or two, and we'll get it online probably by the end of the week. Yeah, so stay tuned for making jam. She has a few tips on how she did it, and what she used to do it was interesting too. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a good video. I'll definitely put it on here. Been trying to get her to do more cooking videos, probably regular cooking videos. Might throw them up on my Patreon when I get a couple of them. She went to make one this past weekend. She was going to do a cooking video. She ended up not making the video because of kids and losing tripods and things like that. So this is why I keep all my stuff in my vehicle or in my little bag, so my stuff don't get lost. Otherwise I'd be missing my microphone. I'd be missing my tripods. Be easier if I just lost the kid, right? Then I'd keep all my stuff. Don't lose your kids. Alright, this has been James with Grim Survival. Thank you for watching. Remember, give me a thumbs up if you like it. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow me on Patreon. There are no tiers on there, so whatever it's worth to you, I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.